Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my July reading wrap up and also kind of a TBR for August. I don't usually do TBRs, but I'll explain it later and you'll understand why I'm doing that this month. This video is going to be kind of hard to film. The last few days have been hard. A friend of ours here in Colorado passed away kind of unexpectedly yesterday, and so the last few days has been hard, and so my brain and heart isn't really in this, but I do want to film this because I did read some good books this month and I want to get it up. If my thoughts seem a little all over the place, that is why. I'm just gonna do my best and probably won't go into much detail with the books just for that reason. But thank you for watching anyways. Hug the ones you love, tell them you love them, and cherish every moment with the people you have in your life, even the people you're not super close to, because you don't realize how it'll affect you until they're gone or when they're gone. So yeah, thank you for watching, and let's get into the books. So the first book I have very mixed feelings about because I started it and at the beginning I loved it, and towards the end it was just like it went up in flames for me, and that is My Hope Next Door by Tamio Gray. I'm trying to remember everything that happened, but basically Katie Stone, the main character, comes back to her hometown where some bad things happened. She kind of lived a terrible life before she left her hometown, and she goes home and starts reaping the consequences of that. She, in the past few months, has found Christ, and that has really changed a lot of things for her, but she still has the consequences of her past. And she goes and she meets Asher, who is now her next door neighbor. They form a friendship that was never there before, and it turns into something more. And at first I loved it, but I don't know, just towards the end I didn't love it quite as much. Just things that were happening, it felt like a lot. It does have mature, oh, I gotta sneeze, hold on. I'm not remembering everything correctly, but I would say it has a little bit, some mature content. I also didn't love how she wrote their relationship once they were actually in it, just like the physical attraction and stuff like that, and the way she described stuff. I'm not a fan of that, and so that also brought it down. I gave it 4 stars. I think you want a story of redemption. This has good themes of that, but it just wasn't my favorite. But I probably won't be keeping it, which is really sad because at the beginning I loved it, and then I don't know what happened. It just, several things I didn't like just took it down for me. So there's that one. And then I read The Sisters of Sea View by Julie Klassen, and it's kind of like an opposite of what happened with this book. At the beginning, it was definitely very slow to get into. It is not a very plot-driven book at all. It's more character-driven. There's some plot, but it's definitely more of like a drawn out, more like a TV series that just shows people's everyday lives with like little plot points instead of big ones. And so it just took a little bit longer to get into. But once I was getting closer to the end, I started really connecting with the characters and loving them. And at first I was like, I don't know if I'll continue the series, but by the end, I did want to continue the series at some point. I should probably do it sooner rather than later so it's fresh in my mind. But this is about the Summers family. Their father passes away and leaves them with the house, and so they don't have the money to care for the house and to like keep it up, so they're thinking of moving. But then they decided to open like a boarding house, and then all of the interesting characters that come into that, and I really loved the characters, most of the characters in this book. So I think I will definitely be continuing the series when I can get my hands on the other books. But I gave this one 4 stars as well. It reminds me a lot of Luana Blackwell's series This is book 3. What is it even called? The Gresham Chronicles. Julie Klassen's writing often reminds me of these books. Definitely more like small village, little plots and character-driven books. So if that is your thing, then I would definitely recommend. And then I read Sailing Around the Room by Billy Collins. This is a collection of his poetry from different of his poetry books, I think. New and selected poems. For the most part, I really enjoyed this. I didn't like all of the poems. Some of them were a little weird. Some of them I loved. I find with poetry collections, that's just kind of how it goes. I'm not a huge poetry person, so poetry is a little iffy for me. It just kind of depends. But I did enjoy it for the most part, and I gave it 4 stars. A lot of 4 stars this month. That is kind of a theme. And then probably my favorite book of the month was When Crickets Cry by Charles Martin. This book kind of broke my heart, and oh, Mitchell, do you want to come say hello? Come here. Mitchell, come here. Come here. Good boy. Hi. Say hello. Say I need a haircut. Oh my goodness. Oh, there you go. We love when Mitchell makes an appearance. Hey, sorry for the interruption. This is about a man who helps a little girl who has a heart disease, or something is wrong with her heart. A hole in her heart. I forget exactly the condition. Basically, she's waiting for a heart transplant, and it's just their story, and the ending had me, I'm not gonna say anything because I don't want it to be spoiled, but it was such an emotional read, and definitely, which I guess is my second Charles Martin, but definitely my favorite. It was 5 stars, and I loved it so much. Annie, such a lovable character and such a fun personality, even though she's going through something just literally heartbreaking. So definitely recommend this one. And then the next one, I'm gonna be honest, don't even remember what this is about. Okay, that is Memories of Glass by Melanie Dobson. I don't know if it was the timing that I read this, or if it was the book itself, or if it's just not for me. I gave it 3 stars. I hardly remember what happened. The whole time, I didn't really care. It's a dual timeline, and so dual timeline for me has to be done really well for me to enjoy it, because you're like into one story and you get sucked into that, and then you get transported to another story. And so usually dual timeline are like 3 to 4 stars for me, or not usually 5 stars, unless it's like involving the same people, and this one isn't. It's like the 1942 timeline and then the present day. I don't even know how to explain this book to you because I didn't care enough to even remember. If you love this book, I'm sorry. I just don't think it was for me, or I read it at a bad time. I wanted it to be over and almost DNF'd it multiple times, but I finished it, and there's that. Next book I read was Born of Gilded Mountains by Amanda Dykes. First of all, the cover is beautiful. This is set in Colorado, which made it more special and fun. Living here in Colorado, I've loved reading books about Colorado. So this is about Mercy Windsor, aka, oh my goodness, what's her name? Mary Beth, I think her name is Mary Beth. But she is an actor, and so that's why she changed her name to Mercy Windsor. And it is her story it's like a story of friendship, and it's not a romance, it was very fun and cool to read a book about like friendship. And there is a romance that starts, but it's not with the main character, and so it's a very subplot. Not much about that at all, but it is heartbreaking, and the mystery aspect is very fun, and Amanda Dykes' writing is beautiful. And it did start out a little bit slow for me, but then by the end, I didn't want it to end, and I loved it. So 4.5 stars. I loved it. And then I read Pax Journey Home. This is the second book The first one is just Pax. I think it's just called Pax. And I read that one several years ago, and I loved this one. I gave it 4.5 stars as well. It's just a really cute book. I say cute, but there are some very heavy things in here that I think it would be for older children. Just a lot of grief, and a lot of the little boy in this story wants to just push everyone away because of how much heartbreak he has experienced with wars and all of that. I loved it, and the cover is just absolutely stunning. What's his name? John Klassen illustrates these books, and I love John Klassen's illustrations, and so this one is just gorgeous. But I highly recommend this. What is the age? It says ages 8 to 12. Yeah, so I really love this duology, I guess. I guess it's just the duology. We'll be reading to my children one day. And then the next one, I gave this one 2 stars, which rarely happens, but that is She Walks in Beauty by Caroline Kennedy. This is a collection of poems, basically about like the different, what's the word? The different like events in a woman's life. And at first I was like, this is kind of cool. There was a few poems in here that were a little bit weird, just talking about the different aspects of womanhood, some that I really didn't like. And so by the time I got halfway, I basically skimmed, didn't read all the poems, and yeah, there were, that'd be the dryer. So if you could hear that throughout the whole video, I'm sorry. But yeah, I don't recommend this. Yeah, we're just gonna move on, and this one is getting on hold because I don't want it. And then the last book I read this month was Promise Me This by Kathy Gulk. This is a recommendation from Carmen. If Carmen recommends a book to me, I pretty much know I'm gonna like it, usually. Just because we have very similar reading tastes. She kind of inspired my love for reading. I already loved reading, and then she gave me all the good books to read. So, Promise Me This by Kathy Gulk. This is about a survivor from the Titanic who he meets someone. He's lived a very hard life, and he meets a man, and this man basically wants to help him, and I don't want to give very many details, but it's like a life story, but develops into a love story that is very, very unique. And I don't want to say much because I kind of want you to go into it blind. Obviously, we know what happened with the Titanic and all of that. But then there's other aspects that are fictionalized in here, and I just loved it, and I can't wait to read more of Kathy Gulk's books. I don't know if I said this. I gave it 4.5 stars. So I'm very excited to pick up her other books as well. So, oh my goodness, they're falling. This is the stack from July. So I hope you got a recommendation from that. It felt very jumbled and not put together very well, but so it goes. Now, for my TBR for August, I have discovered that I'm not a TBR person at all. Even piles of possibility, like people are like, it's just my pile of possibilities, and they'll have like a big stack for the month. I don't like that. I've tried it, and I want to like it because it looks so fun to like check all these books off your list. And some months I do that, like maybe once or twice a year I'll like make a TBR. But this month is going to be a little bit different because I'm going to attempt to read all nonfiction, with 1 or 2 exceptions. So I just finished a book that I had started. I turned the spine around so you can't see what it is. I just finished a fiction book that was for last month's Read Your Bookshelf Challenge, Chantel's Read Your Bookshelf Challenge. So that's an exception. And then also this month's Read Your Bookshelf Challenge, I might read a fiction book. I don't actually think I'll have to, because for either of the prompts for this month, I think I've got it covered with books on this stack. So this is my stack of memoirs, true stories, Things like that, not counting like Christian nonfiction, self-help, business, like anything like that. Because I read a nonfiction like that for a class I take, I leave that very open. So I just got all of my like true stories out. And so I'm just gonna go through them really quick. I'm currently in the middle of Saving My Assassin by Virginia Prodan. I don't know how you pronounce that name, but I'm halfway through, almost halfway, and I'm really enjoying this one. Hudson Taylor's Spiritual Secret. Really excited about this one. Someone read it for our class a few months ago, and so I'm really excited. My Survival, A Girl on Schindler's List. Very excited about this one. It is a mid-grade memoir. Is it a memoir? Yeah. I'm really excited about this one. A Note Through the Wire by Doug Gold. I just found this one at the thrift store. I'm not going to say what these are about. I'm just telling you so that you know what is possibly coming next month. Then Comes the Rain by Janice Good. Yeah, there's that one. The Pianist by, oh, yeah, this is a name that we're not pronouncing today. I have no idea. But I play piano, and so this really intrigued me. Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor E. Frankl. Mrs. Sherlock Holmes by Brad Ricca? I've had this one for a long time, so I don't know if I'll get to it, but I would love to. God's Smuggler by Brother Andrew. Someone else read this in our class, and so I'm excited to read this. Kidnapped in Haiti by Katrina Hoover Lee. I am really excited about this one. I've had it for a long time, and I've heard amazing things, and I just need to read it. The Hiding Place, a graphic novel by Corrie ten Boom. Obviously, she did not create the graphic novel, but it is a graphic novel of her book, The Hiding Place. And so I thought it would be kind of fun. I got this at the thrift store as well. Most of these I got at the thrift store, if we're being completely honest. So I'm excited about reading this book in graphic novel form. Where the Wind Leads by Vin Chung. Also have had this one for a long time and need to read it. This is a potential book for the Read Your Book 12 Challenge. Devotedly, The Personal Letters and Love Story of Jim and Elizabeth Elliot by Valerie Elliott Shepard. I love this cover. I just think it's so fun. Like, if you're writing a book about their letters, like, how fun. And yeah, I might make my way through this slowly because I'm not sure, but I'm excited about that one. And then I actually really need to start this because I was like, well, if I'm doing it this month, this is the perfect month to start this book because it's kind of giant, and that is Bonhoeffer, Pastor, Martyr, Prophets by Eric Metaxas. It's a thick book, and lots of information in here. So I definitely think this is gonna take me months to read. So I was like, you know what? I should just start it. Probably will do that at some point this month. I had literally been looking for this book for almost a year, not quite a year, in the thrift store that I worked at, and then I found it one day, and I was beyond excited, to say the least. So, okay. That was amazing. You just fell off your little stand. The angle is not as great as it was, but there is no way I'm finishing all of these books this month. This is August 8th, by the way. Filming it late, per usual. But here's my TBR. Plus any other nonfiction that I want to read. But those are my unread true stories. I would also love to reread a favorite. This one specifically, Surprised by Oxford. Or another one, two more actually, that I would love to read that are rereads. The Boys in the Boat and Unbroken. I loved both of these, but these are both the young adult. Yeah, adapted for younger readers, for young readers. Basically, I think it's just the same story, just maybe condensed a little bit. I'm not really sure what makes it adapted for young readers content. I don't know. But I figured this would be easier than reading both of the books, like the regular ones. So maybe I'll get to these. I don't really know. But that is going to be all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Also, this is, I only have one more wrap up probably that will be filmed in this house. No, I'm sorry, two more wrap ups, August and September, because we're going home to Georgia in October. And so I will be back in my original location, which is wild. But anyways, thank you for watching. And I hope you have an amazing day, week, whenever you watch this. And I'll talk to you in my next one. Bye.